5 fingers, 5 toes, 5 points on a star. Give me 5, high five. Down low, you're too slow. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's something very admirable about the Japanese handmade craftsmanship. You know, it's a story you hear a lot when you go to Japan of, you know, the Japanese craftsman whose craft has been passed down for hundreds of generations. And it's the guy that, you know, and it's one thing. He's like, you know, there's this guy in Kyoto, and he's spent the last few decades perfecting how to broil a chicken. That's like his thing. And then there's like the Japanese guy that's the master of making one cup, you know, like the perfect cup. And there's something very romantic and cool and like, because we don't do that here for the most part. Of course, there's people in America and other countries that are good at their craft, but for the most part, no one takes it to this level than the Japanese. I am the master of creating this one kind of bean, and that's all I do. And then just striving for perfection. And like that one bean will be the most tastiest bean that you've ever had and have all these nutritional. The problem with this is it's cool, sexy, romantic to find these people who have spent their entire life's work, determination, ambition to cultivate this one skill. But their kids sure don't. And so all these crafts and specialty skills that have been honed for generations are dropping like flies and disappearing every year, one by one, because of the internet. That's just a fact. So a lot of these ancient houses that have mastered sword making, knife making, you know, being the best at growing this corn or, you know, making this kind of donabe pot. Each business is shutting down. And in America, we have kind of the opposite problem, especially the town that I live in, Los Angeles. It's like, hey, what do you do? Singer-songwriter, writer, screenplay, sci-fi, you know, I play piano, guitar, I act, I direct, I produce, I blog, I vlog, and, you know, I'm also a waitress and waiter. Too much. We go to the, you know, the opposite side of the spectrum. You guys know what a 5-tool player is? Oh my, Dave, please. It's excruciating enough when you start talking about art and you sound like an ignorant. It's kind of, we know that you're not educated, so it's always like very cringe and painful when you start talking about any subject and then you kind of throw in big words to make it sound like you know what you're talking about. Please don't do that today with sports. There's nothing more cringe than listening to a middle-aged man who's a mediocre artist trying to relate to us normies by talking about sports. Please, I beg of you, don't do that today. So do you guys know what a 5-tool player is? In the world of baseball, a 5-tool player is, well, let me tell you, it's someone who excels at hitting, fielding, speed, and hitting for power and average. There's actually not many major league players who can demonstrate these skills during any season. I'd say Paul Goldschmidt on the Cardinals is a player like that. He's a 5-tool player, and it's rare. It's rare for any baseball player to demonstrate these skills throughout like their entire career. Who did that? Barry Bonds did that. Mickey Mantle, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays. All these guys demonstrated the 5 tools throughout their career. And so, what are your 5 tools? Will you be the last of your generation? Will you die off? For you to survive today, are you talking about art skills or life skills? I'm not going to answer that question. I'll let you answer that question. For you to have long-term success, joy, happiness, survival in this world that we're living in today, you cannot just focus on one skill. I'm not saying you shouldn't focus on one skill, but you have to go out your comfort zone. You talk about that a lot, Dave. Do you just live in discomfort all the time? No, I've become very comfortable with discomfort. It is my home. That it doesn't feel uncomfortable anymore. So what are your 5, Dave? Well, you should know those things by now. Are you talking about like skills, like life skills, like I'm good at empathy, and or are you talking about I'm good at watercolor, I'm good at spray? I'm not going to answer that question either. I'm asking you that question. You cannot be just good at one thing. Well, that's for sure in your case. You're not that good at anything. You're kind of mediocre at a lot of things. Okay, fine. If you want to be abusive towards me today, that's fine. But I'm asking you who's listening, besides all the other mean criticizing Daves right now, the buck stops with you. Your next generation, whether you have kids or not, whoever you inspire, influence, or not, whatever it is that you do, that legacy ends with you today unless you expand beyond I'm just this. You can't just be a writer. You can't just be a ballerina. You can't just be an automotive repair mechanic. You can't just be one thing. You can, but to survive today, you need skills to pay the bills. You need skills to get your fill. You need Are you trying to rap right now? Well, that might be one of my skills that I need to work on. Whether it's a creative skill, a work skill, a career skill, a life skill, an emotional skill, you need to develop 5 at a bare minimum. 5. Because each finger, when you fold it up, makes a fist. And then you have power. And then you will have a well-rounded life. And you can pass these things on. What are your 5? I'd like to know. Share it with me. Tell me. Dosame.